Hey everyone, I'm Travis and let's get Wanderlost. The last video that we published was a couple weeks ago and it was a planning video for our first ever European trip. If you didn't watch this video, we were going to Rome for a couple days and then spending 7 nights aboard Royal Caribbean's Odyssey of the Seas through a Greek Isle tour that went to Turkey, Greece, and Italy. Well, we're back from this trip and we are super jet lagged, but we wanted to make sure we shared everything that we learned, what we liked and didn't like, and if our planning went well with you. The first thing that I want to share with you is this trip to Europe and the Greek Isle cruise that we went on was one of the best vacations that we've ever been on. I'm still thinking about the cruise, I'm still thinking about the time we spent in Rome. I really wish it didn't end, and it was a 2-week vacation, and I just want to go back. So this is the first of a couple videos we're going to do that kind of reviews this trip and the things that we did. And the first thing we're going to kind of start off with is our flights to Rome. On our last video, we talked about what we spent for our flights to Rome. From Newark, New Jersey to FCO, which is Leonardo da Vinci Airport in Rome, we flew on SAS, which is Scandinavian Airlines, and we spent about $650 per person. We got premium economy seats, or what SAS calls SAS Plus. And then we had to book a separate flight because we are DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth based, from DFW to Newark, New Jersey, to be able to get to our flight. We booked on American Airlines, and I used credit card points through Chase's travel website in order to book that flight. It was just an economy ticket, again on American Airlines from DFW to Newark. The flight from DFW to Newark was pretty uneventful. A couple hours, we were there, we landed around noon, and then we had roughly a 6.5 hour layover in Newark that we kind of had to find something to do. In Newark, good thing they actually had a SAS lounge, and if you were SAS Plus or higher, you were able to go into. This is the first time we ever went into an airline lounge, and it was actually really good. The lounge in the Newark airport had a lot of room. It was very comfortable. They had fresh food. They had a lot of drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So we spent about 4 hours in the SAS lounge, just kind of hanging out before our flight. The surprising thing is that they had potato salad, and the potato salad was really, really good. I ate way too much of it. We also had Swedish meatballs. I had soda. Nicole had a glass of wine. It was an easy way to spend 4 hours just kind of relaxing in the lounge. And we would do that again. SAS's lounge in Newark Airport is actually a really good lounge. Now let's talk about the flight. So from Newark Airport to Oslo, Norway, it's about a 7.5 to 8 hour flight. And we had booked premium economy, which is called SAS Plus. So Nicole and I sat next to each other. I had the window seat. She had the aisle. Nobody else sat next to us. The seats were wider. They had more legroom. They were pretty comfortable. My seat did not recline no matter how hard I tried to force it to, which kind of sucked, but nothing I could really do about that. You had a TV screen in front of you that had a lot of movies and stuff to watch. And SAS provided a snack, which was like cashews and a drink. And then they also had a dinner service, which I had the braised beef with sweet potatoes and a salad and dessert. Nicole had I believe it was a curry chicken with rice, a salad, and dessert. Overall, the food was actually better than I was expecting. You hear all those jokes about airline food, but the food was actually really good. I ate almost everything on my plate. And they also had a breakfast in the morning, which was fresh fruit, yogurt, a bagel with cream cheese, and I think cheese to go with that. Nicole actually slept through it, and she was pretty upset that I didn't wake her up for it, but I figured I would let her sleep. Overall, the food was really good on SAS. Wasn't expecting it. It was a huge surprise. And the seat was pretty comfortable. A lot more comfortable than, let's say, an economy seat. Because I do remember kind of writing notes to Nicole next to me saying, hey, my legs are not feeling all that great. My knee hurts. Get me off this airplane at one point. But that's kind of expected with an 8-hour flight. I think that's more to do with the length of time you were sitting rather than the type of seats that we did have. Overall, SAS Plus, I recommend it, especially for the price that we paid. So we landed in Oslo, Norway, and we had about an hour layover for our next flight to Copenhagen, Denmark. The problem that we ran into is the flight was delayed, and as soon as we landed, we had to hustle. And we kind of forgot that we had to go through customs in Norway to get our visa stamped in our passport. And we got to that line, which took forever. We got to the front of the line, and the customs agent was like, "You're not going to make your next flight. You need to run as soon as I stamp this," type of thing, just to see if you have a chance, which that sucks. So we're running through the airport in Oslo. Finally get to our gate. They've already started boarding. Get on the plane. It's a little puddle jumper type airplane type of thing. Less than an hour flight to Copenhagen. Get in our seats. Obviously, it's just a typical smaller jet. We get to Copenhagen, and we're told that Copenhagen has a ton of delays. And they're typically delayed out of that airport. I guess due to construction or some other stuff going on there, all their flights are getting delayed in Copenhagen. So we land, and we had to run again because we were delayed landing. We run all the way to our gate for our flight to Rome. Make it as soon as they start doing the boarding process, and then get on a A320neo jet from SAS to Rome. The flight from Copenhagen to Rome was uneventful. It's about 2.5 hours. They did serve lunch on that, which was a pastrami lunch meat salad type of thing. It had carrots and couscous and like a cream cheese type sauce with it. It was actually really good, a lot better than I was expecting. I ate all my pastrami lunch meat type stuff. It was good. Way better than any type of food that we were expecting to get on board that flight. If you think about flying in America, you don't get food. You're lucky if you get pretzels or a trail mix if you're flying Southwest. The Biscoff cookies if you're flying like on American Airlines or Delta. It was a pleasant surprise to get a meal on a short 2.5 hour flight. So we landed in Rome, and I check where's my AirTag application on my phone, and my bag is still in Copenhagen, Denmark. So already a good start. Nicole gets her bag, no problems there. So we go up to the lost baggage claim area, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, fine." They saw on my phone where it was still in Copenhagen. They scanned the barcode we had for our checked-in luggage. They're like, "Yep, it's still there. We'll get it here tomorrow." So we had to arrange transportation from our hotel in the center part of Rome back to the airport the next day, which kind of messed up a lot of our plans and the things that we wanted to do. I need to contact SAS to see if they have a reimbursement thing for that sort of stuff, but at least the AirTag showed where the stuff was, and I actually got my bag back. But huge inconvenience. First time that's happened to us in a while. Transportation from the airport FCO to our hotel in the center part of Rome was done via the hotel. They arranged it. It's in I guess a black car service to pick us up from the airport. So we had a guy waiting there with my name on a sign. He actually spelled it wrong. It was Tervis, Tervis, like the cups that you can buy, which was pretty funny. We get in the car. It's like a 30-minute drive from the airport to the hotel. No big deal. We stayed at the Hive Hotel, which is a couple blocks away from the Rome Central train station. If you are an American or from North America, the Hive Hotel is very similar to most American-style hotels. It's very comfortable and it's very familiar. It had a lot of character in terms of the design. It's very sleek, a lot of lights, that sort of stuff, especially in the lobby. But in general, it's just a basic American-style hotel. You have a very large lobby. You go up to your room. The rooms are very large. They're comfortable. A lot of amenities, that sort of stuff. It felt like home. The room had just about everything you could need. The water was very hot. There was a lot of extra space, especially for suitcases and stuff. We had a refrigerator to store some stuff in, and like drinks and whatever else. Overall, a very comfortable hotel that we would stay in again. And again, if you're an American and you want an American-style hotel while you're in Europe or in Rome, that's next to a lot of the tourist attractions. This is a good hotel to start with. I will say there is no vending machines on property. So if you're looking to just to grab a soda or a bottle of water or something like that late at night, you don't really have an option to do that. So we would go up to the rooftop bar and order from there. I got a few bottles of soda, Nicole got some water, and then we put them in our refrigerator in the room. Not that big of a deal, just something to think about, especially if you do like a drink before you go to bed or want some water in the room. The hotel was a few blocks away from the Coliseum. It was in walking distance to the Trevi Fountain, walking distance to the Pantheon, basically centrally located that you could go to all the sites and not spend a whole lot of time walking, and you wouldn't need a taxi to go places. The only places that we took a taxi or an Uber to was the Vatican, and then some of the restaurants in the Vatican area, and then obviously to and from the airport and the cruise port. But good hotel, we recommend it. There is one thing that I kind of forgot to mention when I was talking about the flights from America to Rome. We had an early flight from Dallas, DFW Airport, to Newark. So we started on the road about 6 o'clock in the morning. Flights was about 7:30 or so. We land in Newark around noon. We had a 6.5 hour layover. Then the flight from Newark to Oslo was about 7.5 to 8 hours. Another hour flight from Oslo to Denmark, Copenhagen, and then a 2.5 hour flight from Copenhagen to Rome. So, like I said, we've been on the road, or at least traveling, around 6 o'clock in the morning, Central Time. And then we landed in Rome around 2 o'clock p.m. Rome time. And it was a long day and a half. We were dead tired, jet lagged, whatever you want to describe it as. The only thing I can think of is like, it was a good thing we got those plane tickets for about $650 a person, because it was awful. We do not recommend taking that long of a day, especially with the layovers and the number of planes you had to change and trying to get sleep on an airplane. It just wasn't a good idea. My reaction when we finally got to the hotel, I just wanted to go to sleep, but we had to get freshened up, and because we had a tour that night at the Coliseum and we needed to eat and like all that sort of stuff. And my biggest reaction was, why did we do this? I think if we were to fly again to Rome, we would be a little bit more selective about the flights that we selected and not just choose the cheapest premium economy flight that we could. So the very first thing that we did after we checked into the hotel and got freshened up and then back out into the city of Rome is we walked to the Coliseum. It was a few blocks away from the Hive Hotel. Wasn't that far, maybe like a 15-minute walk. We had a night tour booked through the Viator website of the Coliseum that included the underground, the arena floor, and the other aspects of the Coliseum. It's something I was really looking forward to. The Coliseum is something that you read about in history books. You see it in the movie like The Gladiator, and I've always wanted to go there. It's been at the top of my list of places I've wanted to go, and to tour the underground along with the arena floor was something I was really looking forward to. The tour through Viator, obviously it's through another tour company that you are actually with during your tour. They give you a little headset and an earpiece so you can hear the tour operator, the tour guide, and they kind of lead you around. So we met the tour guide near the metro station at the Coliseum, and then obviously got the rest of the people from the tour. It was about 10 people. And then we went over by the Roman Forum area where they kind of explained some stuff about the Roman Forum and the road that's there and how Mussolini destroyed part of the Imperial Forum to build it, and a lot of really cool information. And then we had to walk back towards the Colosseum area, and the tour guide showed us some stuff around the Colosseum, like the Constantine Arch, and where there was a Colossus statue right in front of the Coliseum before, and then some of the stuff about the outside of the Coliseum, how it used to have marble, and how they used a lot of that marble at Vatican City. typical stuff you would learn about, a place that you're going. It comes time for us to go into the Coliseum as it's starting to get darker and darker. And basically the tour guide lets us know that there's an Italian tour in front of us that we are going to kind of follow. So there's an Italian tour guide that's speaking Italian, and obviously our tour guide spoke English, and we had our headsets on. He's like, the only thing I have to remember is not to speak too loudly because it'll interrupt them. Other than that, we're good to go. So obviously we go through the entrance to show our passports and our tickets. We go around the outside of the Coliseum towards the stairs, and then down into the underground. The underground, if you didn't know, is where the animals were stored. It's where like the prisoners were kept. It's basically under the arena floor, and they had elevators and stuff that would, the tigers would be raised up on an elevator up to the floor, or the gladiatorial combats, or any of that sort of stuff. It's a place you don't get to go to with your normal ticket, and it was really cool to see that much history and something that you wouldn't normally just get a chance to see. After you do the tour of the underground, which was unbelievable, you go up to the outside edge of the arena floor, and then over to where they have the arena floor set up, and you kind of just stand there and you're in awe, and you look up at the Coliseum, and you imagine 50,000 people screaming for whatever was going on there. It was just really cool. Highly recommend a tour of the Coliseum, especially at night, because it was a lot cooler and it was a lot less people. So you weren't like having to push your way through. You weren't having to be crowded in. It wasn't hot. You weren't sweating. It was very comfortable. Overall, a really good experience of the tour of the Coliseum. So the one thing I will mention is our tour guide kept getting into arguments with the Italian tour guide. I don't know if he was being too loud or if he was coming too close to their group, but it was very distracting, and I was kind of annoyed about it. Because as soon as he would start to say something, the Italian tour guide would yell something at him, and then they would get into an argument in Italian. And obviously, I don't speak Italian. I can pick up certain bits of what they were saying, but I don't really get why they were doing that in front of a bunch of customers. It felt very unprofessional and did take away from some of the experience of being at the Coliseum. We tried not to let it bother us because it was a once-in-a-lifetime type tour and a once-in-a-lifetime type experience. But it wasn't that great from the tour guide aspect of it. I would have rather have done like an audio tour or done it on our own with like reading the plaques and stuff. But you're not gonna be able to go underground and do that sort of stuff at night without a guide. So I guess you get what you get. Overall, I'd rate that tour probably the experience of being at the Coliseum at night and then doing the underground. That was a 10 out of 10. The guide itself, I would probably go 4 out of 10. So overall, probably 7 or an 8 out of 10. But I wouldn't trade being at the Coliseum at night and doing the underground for any other type of experience there. I just wish we had a better guide. So after the Coliseum tour, we walked back over like towards our hotel, and we were kind of checking things out at night, looking at the way the city was lit up and that sort of stuff. But we were hungry, so Nicole was on her phone, kind of checking some of the higher rated, quicker dinner spaces because it was late and we'd been traveling all day and we were hungry. We found a hole in the wall like pasta joint. I'm going to put a video of the actual outside of this place and a screenshot of what it's actually called because at this moment I don't remember. But I had a carbonara and Nicole had another type of pasta. And we also had I don't remember what they're called off the top of my head, I'm sorry. But it's the deep fried rice balls. Deep fried rice balls. And the food was excellent. For a little hole in the wall, we spent like less than 20 euros and it was great. The food was excellent. I don't know if it's just because we were super hungry, but I would recommend it. So check out the screenshot that we're going to put up on this video right now. And if you're in Rome, I recommend it. Try it out. And then on the way back to the Hive Hotel, on the corner right in front of the church that's next to the Hive Hotel, there is a little gelato place, and it was excellent. So if you're looking for a late night dessert, go there. We enjoyed it. So we went to bed, obviously don't remember falling asleep, set our alarms early, and when we woke up, we got ready, and then we made the, I think it was an 18-minute walk from the Hive Hotel all the way to the Trevi Fountain. This is somewhere that Nicole really wanted to go. When we got there, it was really early in the morning, let's say 8 or 9 o'clock, and we were able to walk right to the water. So online, you see the photos of the Trevi Fountain. It's just a sea of people. We didn't experience that at all during the morning. Walk right up to the water, touch the water, whatever. Able to take photos in front of the Trevi Fountain without a bunch of people in them. Really cool experience because it's someplace you see in photos and in online and that sort of stuff. It was excellent. We had breakfast over at the Trevi Fountain at a place called L'Antico Forno, which is a little pastry shop. We got a couple croissants, cream-filled, chocolate-filled, that sort of stuff, and then sat in front of the Trevi Fountain and just ate breakfast in that area. It was really cool, especially with the lack of people. I personally think if you're going to go to Rome, you got to put having breakfast at the Trevi Fountain on your bucket list of things to do. It was excellent. Highly recommend it. So from the Trevi Fountain, we had some other places that we wanted to go, but we were kind of pressed on time. I mentioned earlier that my bag was still in Copenhagen, Denmark, and we had to go back to the airport to pick it up when it arrived in the middle of the afternoon. So we started walking towards the Pantheon. On this walk, we passed a church, and it was the Church of Ignacio de Loyola. Excuse me for mispronouncing that, but it's an unassuming church from the outside. Yeah, it's big, but you don't really see what it is. And it's free. There's no charge to go in there. Obviously, they want you to make an offering type of thing. And we go in there, and it is just unbelievable. Just art, floor to ceiling, displays, statues. It is a Renaissance painting just completely covering the church. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. And it was an unassuming church from the outside, and it's huge inside. Nicole kind of made the comment like, hey, let's go in here type of thing, and it wasn't even on our list of places to go, and it was incredible. So it's Ignacio. Put it on your list if you're in Rome. It floor to ceiling, everything was incredible about it, and it didn't cost anything to go in there except they kind of want you to make an offering type of thing. We walked all the way to the Pantheon. There was a huge line to get in. We said we'll go to the Pantheon on the day we get back into Rome after our cruise. But really cool to see the Pantheon from the outside and how old that building actually is. From there, we had to walk back to the Hive Hotel, so 18-20 minutes type of thing. Get like the paperwork we needed for the airport. And we decided to take the train from the Roma Termini station, which is the central Rome terminal, which is a couple blocks away from the Hive Hotel. The train ticket, there is a Leonardo Express train that goes from that train station to the airport, and it takes 32 minutes, and it costs 14 euros per person. The train was super clean, a lot of room on it. We sat by ourselves, and there's not much to look at on the route. But a very comfortable, quiet ride from the center of Rome. If we were to fly back into Rome, we would take that Leonardo Express train to our hotel rather than having the hotel arrange a black car to pick us up. It was, so if you think about it, $28 each way for two people, and we paid, I think it was 60 euros for the black car service through the hotel. So a lot cheaper, and it was not as bad as I was thinking, because when you think of trains in America, especially public transportation, it's awful. In Rome, it was a lot better. The train was clean, a lot of room, very comfortable, quiet. Didn't have to worry about anything while you're on that train. So if you're going to go from FCO to the center of Rome, take the Leonardo Express. It'll save you some money, and it's worth it. So that entire ordeal took several hours to go back and forth and pick up my bag. Some of the stuff that we had planned to do during that time, which was like go to the Roman Forum, and explore that section, and then the Imperial Forum we couldn't do, and we never got it back around to doing that sort of stuff, which sucked. From here, we had a tour of the Vatican, so we had to take a Uber from our hotel to the Vatican Museums. So it's actually a hotel in front of the Vatican Museums where the other couple that we were going on this tour with were staying at, the T-Mark Hotel. We got there, we met with the tour guide. She was super cool, very informative. Her voice reminded me of, if you've ever been to Epcot and you've ridden Spaceship Earth, I know it's Dame Judi Dench, but her voice reminded me of Judi Dench. And especially the parts where she's like, thank the Phoenicians in that the Spaceship Earth. That's all I could think about when this lady was talking. But overall, great tour guide. You learned a lot from her. She made it fun. Excellent. I highly recommend a tour of the Vatican. It was an evening tour. It started at 5:30 p.m. and it went through the Vatican museums, which were super cool. Especially the wing that was about Italy. It was about Italy during the 16 or 1700s. It had a gold ceiling, art everywhere. Really unbelievable image of it. I really wanted to do this tour for the Sistine Chapel because I wanted to see those historic paintings by Michelangelo. They didn't allow any type of photography or video inside the Sistine Chapel, so I don't have anything to show you for that. But awe-inspiring, standing in the middle of the Sistine Chapel, looking up at the ceiling and looking at stuff you would see in textbooks or art books. Just incredible. The entire Vatican museums and the Sistine Chapel was well worth it. You saw things that were in history books or art books, and you saw them up close. And if you go at night for a nighttime tour, you're not wall-to-wall people, so you have time and you have the ability to actually look at things that you want to look at. Recommend it. Do it. Do a nighttime tour of the Vatican. We booked it through Viator, again, just like we did the Coliseum tour. One of the best parts about the trip was that tour of the Vatican and the Sistine Chapel. So after the Vatican, we needed dinner, and we wanted to go to dinner with our friends. And I've been wanting to go to Tannerello since I first heard about it through a Kara and Nate video like a year ago. We took a taxi from the Vatican over to Tannerello, and the line was ridiculous. One of the things you'll notice about us is we don't know what day it is half the time because we work retail, and when you're on vacation, you're not paying attention if it's Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday. We know the number of the day, but not what actual date it was, and it was a weekend. And the line was down the alleyway at Tannerello, and it was going to take forever. And I think we were all pretty hungry and grouchy, and none of us wanted to wait in that line. So we decided to kind of check Yelp or Google Maps or whatever to kind of find a good, solid dinner restaurant. So we found one, and we walked, I think it was like about 10-15 minutes the other direction, and it was called Osteria della Trippa. It has a Michelin guide inclusion sticker on the door. Little quaint little restaurant. It was late, so it was about an hour before closing type of thing. We were sat down almost immediately after they cleaned off the table. I had the carbonara. It's going to be a theme of this trip where I try carbonara everywhere. And Nicole had another type of pasta. Overall, the food was good. It wasn't the best pasta I've had. And you kind of go to Rome, and you're like, I'm in Italy, I'm going to have great pasta. And it was good. I would go there again, maybe order a different type of pasta. The bread, on the other hand, don't order the bread. It was $5, and it was not good. The breadsticks at Olive Garden were better than the bread at this restaurant. It was a decent meal. We would go there again. I would probably order something different. But overall, a decent experience late at night at a restaurant we kind of just picked at random. Osteria della Trippa. So after that, we went back to the Hive Hotel. We took a taxi ride, and I am not ever prepared for taxis. I don't know what it is about the entire world, but taxi drivers, I know they got to get places quickly, but it is scary. Our taxi driver was driving on train tracks and going the wrong way down one-way streets. He took a roundabout in front of one of the monuments at full speed without slowing down. And I drive a nice car, and I've done some road racing and autocross, but the city streets of Rome, you're going to scare me every time if you drive like a race car driver, especially in a van that's playing like techno music. It was a party van. Be prepared for that when you're in Rome. They don't drive well. Lanes and speed limits and traffic signs, crosswalks are all a mere suggestion in the city of Rome rather than being actual things they enforce. I would not drive there. If we rented a car, I would not drive in Rome. It was not fun. And then we had gelato before we went back into the Hive Hotel. We walked down the street. I don't remember the name of this gelato place. It wasn't very good. Their claim to fame was like they had locations in a lot of different areas around Europe, and then one of them was in Texas. And it didn't say where in Texas, it just said Texas. Overall, it was okay. It wasn't great. The gelato place we went to the night before was way better. I can't think of the name of it. It was down the street from the Hive Hotel. Probably like 4 blocks. But, I mean, you're in Italy. Every night you gotta have gelato. Alright, so this video is getting a little bit long, so we're gonna wrap it up here. This video went through the travel to Rome, our first couple days there. Our next video will go over the embarkation for Odyssey of the Seas and the start of that cruise. So be on the lookout for that in the next couple days, maybe a week or so. It all depends on how jet lagged we are and how quickly we can get it recorded and edited. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you found it useful, please make sure you hit that like button. And as always, make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. And we'll see you next time.